Well, let's talk a little bit more about, should you set up a plan even if you expect to have high income in retirement? I was talking to a guy the other day, and he has millions stored away in his IRAs and 401ks already. So his main concern is when he goes to actually retire and take required minimum distributions, he's still going to be taxed at a high bracket. So his main question is, would even setting up a defined benefit plan help him in the long run? What do you say to that, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, good question. And the answer is it depends. It certainly does. I mean, he's looking out in the future and saying, look, I got all this money. I've got some RMDs I'm going to be staring at. A lot of people out there think that taxes are going up. I think that most people would say taxes for high income earners probably aren't coming down. So you certainly may be looking at higher brackets. I mean, one of the advantages to any sort of tax deferral in this case is to defer the income when you're in a very high bracket. You make $500,000 a year, you want the tax deductions today because you're in a higher bracket and the tax savings are much higher than in retirement where you may only be making, $100 grand a year or whatever it might be. If you've got someone who says, look, I make $1 million a year, I would love to have the tax deductions today, but the reality is too, I got 5-10 million in my IRA. I've got another 10 years that I'm going to work. I've got other assets. I'm going to be making 300, 400, 500,000 a year in retirement anyways with everything. Why don't I just not do a plan? Why don't I just pay the taxes now and move on with my life? I would say, look, if you feel confident that tax rates are going to be higher, if you feel confident that your income is going to be, high. I mean, let's say, if you're making 500,000 to $1 million today, if your income you think is going to be 500,000 plus or something pushing a top tax bracket, then you're exactly right. It might not make sense for you. But remember, with our plans, not only do you get the immediate tax savings and take advantage of the time value money, it's going to grow over time, and you're not going to have any tax on any sort of gains over time. And for a lot of people, it just comes down to the sleeping good at night, sleeping. I guess I put it this way: if most people watching this right now would feel more comfortable if they had an extra million in their retirement. Right. No matter if they've got zero in their retirement or $10 million, you usually feel a little bit better if you've got an extra million. Maybe for 10 million, maybe that doesn't matter as much, but you get the gist. And so if you sleep better at night, knowing you've got more money in retirement, that's great. Are you going to have a bigger problem down the road? Conceivably, we don't know where the taxes are going to be. Also, remember state taxes. I mean, you might be in California today, but you might be retiring in Nevada or Florida where there's no state income tax. So that can affect everything that you're doing as well. So, if you're in a situation where it's a wash, I always tell people, and we do come across those from time to time, just generally people who the DB plan is not a home run for them. It might make sense, but it's not a complete home run, which helps you sleep better at night. You sleep better knowing that you've got this plan and those investments and those higher income and savings and a tax deferral. Or is it a headache for you? You want to pay the tax. You don't want to be bound by all the rules. Might make sense. So absolutely something that people can think and concern or consider what's going to make most sense for them,
Absolutely. And I told this guy, it's a good problem to have regardless. So even if you are storing away more for your retirement, that's obviously, kind of better. Yeah. And like you said, helps you sleep at night.
Not surprising. We typically tell people to take advantage of it today, especially with time value of money, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. You might find the gentleman you talk to might be getting a divorce at some point, and his wife might take half of his income. And then maybe he gets remarried and now he's, got a spouse and, kids and his retirement account is half of what it could be. So we don't have a crystal ball. So generally speaking, take advantage of the deductions today when you can. And, at some point in the future, we'll cross that bridge, So
that's great advice. Yep. Thanks for that, Paul.